her little sister. And we're 18 months apart, so we've always been to school together. We went to UW together, and we became roommates. She introduced me to my husband, which we got married.
Right,
Hero.
it was all me.
Woo!
All that.
5 years ago, we got married. So. But after graduating from college, Jessica decided she wanted to go to graduate school, and she decided she had to go to the #1 graduate school all the way across the country. Woo! Leaving me all by myself.
Skipping a math.
So of course I was scared for her. She was going someplace she didn't know. She was going all by herself. And I was nervous. But she met a lot of wonderful people. And a lot of them are here today. So when she finally met Steve, she told me about him. And I was like, okay, he sounds like a nice guy. But I didn't get to meet him, so I don't really know. But when we finally did go out to visit him, I told my husband, I go, I don't think their relationship is going to last because they argue all the time.
I didn't know that.
So it's like every night they'd have an argument, and the next morning they'd be fine. And that night they'd have an argument, and the next morning they'd be fine.
Very passionate people.
All right, you guys bigger than mine.
So,
Who's right all the time?
She is.
Good boy.
So after Jessica graduated and she was moving to Boston for her first job, she told me Steve was moving with her. And that's when I kind of decided, you know, maybe they will stay together. Because who moves across the state to go live with someone? Less than a year later, they got engaged. And Jessica calls me up to tell me that he proposed, but she doesn't tell me he proposed. She just tells me, I know you already know what happened. And I said, no, I don't. Tell me what. So then she tells us the story. But because I've lived with Jessica so long, I know that she can be very difficult to live with. So I have some pieces of advice for Steve. The first thing, Steve, you have to listen carefully. Jessica never makes a mess. But she's always the one cleaning it up. So you better start cleaning it up or else you'll get in more arguments. And as my mom said, Jessica's always right. So you already got that one. It's a trait passed down probably from my mom. Because my brother does the same thing. And Hero says that I do too. The last thing is since she's always right, she never makes mistakes.
True.
But the good news is, since she chose to marry you, you'll probably have a very long and happy relationship. So congratulations. At this time, I want to open the mic up to anyone else who wants to give a toast or just say a couple words to Jessica and Steve or to the crowd in general.
I must say hello.
All right, Barbara Lee, everybody! Yeah! Barbara Lee!
For any of you that don't know me, I am the mother of the bride. And of course, I love my daughter.
Thank you.
And everything that all these beautiful bridesmaids said, absolutely true. Steve, you know, give the money to her, everything's all right.
Give me all your
That's the way. That's the way to live to a happy marriage. 30 years plus going. All right. And as you all know, my husband, Jessica's dad, is very ill right now, so he couldn't stay with us. Pancreatic cancer is very difficult. So I offered you all the ribbons as awareness and keep the research going, keep the thing going. We need more research and more treatment early on. just a little plug. Sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
So if anyone else doesn't want to say something, Steve and I would like to oh, I'm sorry. Steve.
Big Steve.
Big Steve.
Of course, I'm Big Steve.
Big Steve.
Little Steve is our only child,
Yes.
one and only. And he had a wonderful childhood growing up. We went through a lot for father and son and mom and all. We've had some great, wonderful people in our lives who's been part of Stephen's life growing up. And it's just been wonderful to watch him blossom into the young man that he is. And I can't thank Jessica enough because she encourages him and pushes him even more and more for his steps forward, which is an awesome thing to see. And Jess is a wonderful addition to our family, and we love having you in our family and part of our family. And we love kind of being extended to your family as well, and with Barb and all. It's just wonderful. This has been the most wonderful weekend of our life. You couldn't ask for anything better. The weather was great. The people have been great. And I finally get to meet a lot of my son's friends. Finally get to meet a lot of Jessica's friends, and I've heard stories about you all, so don't think you're out of the picture. But it's just been a wonderful ride here, and I cannot be happier for the both of you, and it's just been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, come on up. Anyone else? No. So Steve and I just wanted to thank everyone for coming today. We know that so many of you came from so far on such short notice, and we really, really appreciate that. It really means a lot to us that so many of you really made the effort to come and celebrate with us on this special, special day. We wanted to especially thank Liz and Brian. If you guys don't know, Liz and I were roommates in Baltimore, and she started dating Brian, who moved in a few blocks from us, and he had a party, and she convinced me to go to this party, which I was kind of not feeling, but I ended up going, and Steve was there. And that was the first time that Steve and I met. He did not dance like this at the party, because had he danced like that, we probably would not have ended up dating. But in all honesty, we actually knew each other for probably a year or so before we ended up, or maybe even 2 years, before we ended up actually dating. But in that meantime, almost every time I saw Brian, he mentioned Steve. So Steve ended up moving in with Brian. And almost every time Brian came to the house, or I went to Liz's house and Brian was there, he said something about Steve. Steve really wants to see you. Steve is wondering what's going on with you. Do you want to come over to the house sometime? Oh, had I known you were here, I would have invited Steve. And at the same time, now Steve lived a few blocks from us, so randomly I would see him out at the bar or something, but it did take a year and a half before we ended up dating. But as many of you know, once we started dating, it was pretty much going. There was no stopping beyond that. So thank you again for coming, and we really appreciate that you're all sharing this special day with us. We love you! And we love you all.
Jessica Lee, everybody. How great does that dress look, right? Beautiful bride. I agree with everything she said. You can note that, Don. Take a picture of that.
I have a video.
I'm really glad everybody is here. I know that people have come from Baltimore, from Boston, from Seattle, and it's a whole big mix of people who are staying here at the Renaissance Hotel, and everybody is mingling and getting along. And What a great view, right? Is everybody like happy with this view? How was the chicken? Did everyone love the chicken? Okay, the salmon, the chicken, great entrees. Just picked out everything for the wedding, including the Gerber daisies in the middle of your table. I love her to death. And I knew that when we started dating that I saw something special in her, and I realized that this is somebody that I could laugh with and spend the rest of my life with, because it really means a lot to have a partner to go through the rest of your life with, and I really couldn't have picked a more beautiful and special person to spend the rest of my life with. And it's because of her that has made me want to be a better person, and it's because of her that makes me want to continue to grow and continue to become better, so that we can have a future that not only can we be happy with, but our children can be happy with as well. Thank you. Everyone in here has meant a lot to us in one form or another, and we really want you. It's not supposed to be funny, I like that. You know what I'm saying, DJ? It's like the serious moment. Like, DJ, I'm not supposed to be laughing. As you were laughing during our vows. Did anybody catch that? Thank you all for joining us. I love you.